ones that watch. They told us not to go past Miller's Creek after dark. It ain't the wolves, Old Man Harker had said, his voice gravel and whiskey. It's what watches the wolves. We thought he was just drunk, so naturally, we went. It was supposed to be a joke. Me, Darren, and Jess, a bottle of rum, 3 flashlights, and the kind of daring stupidity that only teenagers own. We followed the creek until the trees thickened and the trail disappeared. "Come on, let's go a bit deeper," Jess said, her breath white in the air. The woods felt wrong, not silent, but listening. Somewhere in the dark, something screamed. Not a coyote, not a fox. It was too long, too human. Probably a bobcat, Darren said, but his voice was brittle. Then we found the circle, twisted branches tied into crude figures hanging from the trees, deer bones arranged in spirals on the forest floor, a shredded backpack soaked through with something black and rotting. Just reached for one of the wooden figures. "Don't touch it," I said. Too late. The woods breathed. That's the only way to describe it. Like the trees inhaled around us, the canopy tightening. Then we heard the snapping. Not twigs, not branches. Spines. Something stepped between the trees. 7 feet tall, hairless, skin like raw meat stretched too thin. Its eyes were wrong. Not glowing, just too many. Dozens, all blinking at once. Watching. It wasn't alone. They moved silently, melting out of the shadows like they'd always been there. One crawled down a tree backwards, head twisted 180 degrees. Another stood still, lips twitching in something like a smile, revealing rows of needle-thin teeth. We ran. I don't remember how we got out. Just the crunch of leaves, Darren screaming behind me. Then silence. Just tripped. I didn't look back. I made it to the road alone, lungs burning. Sheriff found me at dawn, curled in a ditch. They never found Jess or Darren. Sometimes I hear scratching outside my window at night. Sometimes I see wooden figures tied to the trees behind my house. Ones I didn't put there. I don't sleep much anymore. Old Man Harker was right. It ain't the wolves. It's the ones that watch the wolves. The eyes on Route 12. They warned me not to drive Route 12 after dark. Locals in Point Pleasant spoke in hushed tones, glancing nervously at the tree line, always watching the sky. But I was a journalist. Curiosity trumped fear. It was just past midnight when I crossed the old silver bridge. Fog rolled thick over the blacktop, swallowing the road ahead. My headlights flickered once, then steadied. I gripped the wheel tighter. My breath clouded the windshield, despite the heat on full blast. That's when I saw them. 2 red orbs, glowing like coals, hovering 10 feet off the ground. They didn't blink, didn't move. I slammed the brakes. The car skidded to a halt. Something stepped onto the road. 7 feet tall, wings folded tight like a cape made of shadow. Its limbs were too long, too thin. Head cocked, it stared straight through me. The eyes, those eyes, were not of this world. They radiated dread, not fear, dread. The thing opened its wings. A leathery creak split the silence. My car engine sputtered and died. "Shit," I whispered, fumbling for the keys, but they wouldn't turn. Then the noise started. A deep, vibrating hum filled the air. Not sound, feeling, like pressure inside my skull. My nose bled, my vision blurred. The Mothman didn't move, just watched, like it was waiting. And then I saw them, flashes behind it in the fog, flickers of movement, shadows with limbs like branches and mouths that didn't close. 12 of them, watching, crawling, gathering. Suddenly, the radio blared static. Then a voice, garbled, alien, hissed through.
"You shouldn't have come."
I screamed. I don't remember starting the car, but I remember driving, gravel flying as I swerved off the shoulder and sped into the dark, the headlights revealing nothing but trees whipping by. I didn't stop until I saw lights, real ones, coming from a gas station. The clerk stared as I stumbled inside, blood running from my nose, eyes wild. "You saw it," he said, not asking. I nodded, shaking. "What is it?" He only said, "An omen. It shows up before things break. Bridges, buildings, people." I never wrote the article. I tried, but every time I did, I'd hear the hum again, feel that pressure. Once, I saw those red eyes outside my apartment window, on the 8th floor. I left Point Pleasant the next day. That was 6 months ago. Last week, my phone buzzed with a breaking news alert. Silver Bridge collapse anniversary. 55 dead remembered. The date? The exact night I saw the Mothman. And now, sometimes, in reflections or dreams, I see those red eyes again, still watching, still waiting. It walks at dusk. They called it the Hollow Antler. At first, folks in the town of Grayson blamed the wolves for the disappearances. Livestock shredded, dogs vanished without a sound, children's toys left in trails of blood. But no wolf stood 8 feet tall or had antlers that stretched like gnarled branches into the night sky. Old Pete saw it first, came into the tavern shaking, eyes like cracked glass. "Saw it just past the tree line," he whispered, "standing there, sniffing the wind. Legs like a man, but wrong, bent backward, and its face, God help me, its face looked like bone and shadow, fangs too long for its mouth. No one believed him until Pete's house burned down the next night, with him and his dog locked inside. Then came the screams in the night. They echoed from the woods, low, rattling cries, like someone choking on their own blood. When the town finally sent a group of hunters, only one returned. His clothes were soaked in blood, eyes glazed, his tongue bitten clean off. By the third week, people stopped going outside after dusk. Something scratched at windows, antlers scraped rooftops, and always that slow, dragging growl, as if the trees themselves were growling. The preacher tried to fight it, stood in the middle of the churchyard with a Bible and a shotgun. His body was found 3 days later, crucified on the church doors, his rib cage torn open like wings. No one dared bury him. They said the creature came from the hollow, an old part of the forest that had been cursed long before the town was founded, a place where the wind never blew and the trees grew too close together, twisted and black, a place where hunters vanished and animals never returned. On the full moon, the mayor declared a town-wide curfew. "We stay inside. We wait it out," he ordered. That night it walked the streets, tall, silent. Its antlers scraped telephone wires. Its eyes glowed faintly, like dying coals. And behind its jagged mouth, its breath fogged the glass of every home it passed. One by one, doors creaked open. Not because anyone let it in, because it wanted them open. By dawn, half the town was gone. No signs of struggle, just blood-slick floors, shattered windows, and antler marks carved deep into door frames. Now, Grayson is a ghost town. The hollow keeps its prize. Sometimes, travelers passing through say they see a figure at the edge of the trees, too tall, too still. And sometimes they hear the whispers, low guttural words that don't belong to any tongue, promises of hunger, of teeth, and always the sound of antlers dragging through the leaves. Don't go into the sewers by the prowler. I've been at my new job for a week now, working for the city, the sanitation department to be specific. We maintain the sewers, make sure everything is flowing properly, and take care of any cloggings or obstructions. It's not a glamorous job, but the pay is good. My coworkers have been fine for the most part, except for the constant teasing and mentions of the supposed sewer monster. I guess it's some sort of hazing they do to try and scare the new guy, but it all seems like bullshit to me. Sewer monster my ass. Their scare tactics have worked in the past, though, scaring away multiple people before me. I guess that's how I got the job. Of course, it doesn't help with all the strange disappearances and happenings in the news recently. I think there's reasonable explanations for all that, though. First of all, things just happen. Second of all, if you're down in the sewers at a certain time, you're going to get washed away from the water that's transferred through the pipes to the water treatment plant. I bet my boots that's what happened to all the people who've disappeared down there. The homeless men, the stupid kids hanging out down there, and the missing workers. Just all simple accidents. There are people, of course, who believe the opposite, however. Ever since that homeless bastard claimed to have witnessed a huge rat-like creature eat his friends, the conspiracy theorists have been up in arms. I ask you, though, how? How can you believe an old, drunken, homeless man? It just doesn't compute. I've been down there day in and day out, and the only rats down there are the typical fat, furry ones you tend to see down there. I'm about to clock in for another shift. I'm not afraid, and I will not be frightened off. Trust me when I tell you, there is nothing down there. That was a letter written by sanitation worker Donald Rasmussen. It was addressed to his superiors to be used as part of a collection of testimonials from sewer workers to combat the spread of rumors of a sewer monster and that the sewers were dangerous, coming from the media. The letter was found on Donald's half-eaten corpse. After he had been missing for a week, he and a team of his co-workers were found deep within the sewers. The scene was gruesome. The team were all chewed up and torn to shreds, leaving a few almost unrecognizable. The company had gathered 15 letters from its employees to fight the rumors and claim the sewers were safe. Of the 15 testimonials, 5 of the employees were in the group torn to pieces. The company is in the process of covering up this incident. They are having trouble, however, with reports surfacing that the rescue team of witnessing a large mass moving in the shadows next to the dead bodies, then fleeing down one of the pipes. Loud snarls and growls were also heard. There's something down there. The company is trying to cover it up, but their lies won't save the lives of their employees or the general public. It won't change the fact that the beast is down there, waiting, and it is hungry. The Croaking Tree. They say the woods behind Marlow Hollow go silent after sundown. No wind, no owls, not even the bugs dare whisper. Folks call it superstition. I used to too, until the night I saw it for myself. I was hunting raccoons, or that's what I told myself. Truth was, I was following the strange cries, low guttural croaks that didn't belong to any bird or beast I'd ever heard. They echoed from deep in the pines, from where the trees grow so thick no light gets through even during the day. I found the clearing around midnight. The moon was full, but its light seemed to bend away from the center where one dead tree stood, twisted, gnarled, and black as pitch. No leaves, no bark, just rot and something worse. Then I heard it again. The croak. It rumbled in my chest. The air changed, heavy, rotten, and then it dropped. Out of the sky, from the high canopy above, came a shape too big to be real. Its wings beat like thunder, wide and leathery, not feathered. Its body was draped in matted black fur. Its limbs bent wrong, too long, and its head. God help me, its head was like a bird's, but stretched, twisted into a nightmare. A huge hooked beak. Its eyes were not eyes. They were pits, dark, endless, and hungry. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I just stared as it perched atop the dead tree. And then it spoke. Not with a voice, but inside my skull. You heard me. My knees gave. It spread its wings again, wider than the clearing, blotting out the stars. And then I saw the others. Bones littered the ground. Deer, dogs, people. Skulls cracked open like eggshells. Something wet clung to the bark of the tree, pulsing with every croak. I ran. I don't remember how. I just remember the sound, the wind rushing behind me, the beat of wings, and that voice in my head. You saw me. You know me. I made it out alive, but I don't sleep anymore, because every night I hear the croak, louder now, closer. And sometimes, when I pass by the mirror, I swear I see something behind me, tall, black, and grinning with that hooked beak. Waiting. In the woods? Well, they haven't made a sound since. Hollow hunger. They said don't go past the tree line after dark. They said something in those woods used to be human. But Jesse didn't believe in stories, not until he heard it scream. He and his brother Tom had come up to the cabin for deer season. No wives, no phones, no distractions, just cold beer and the thrill of the hunt. But by the third night, snow began falling early. Too early for October. Jesse stepped out to gather firewood. The woods were silent, breathless. Then came a crunch. Not twigs. Bones. He turned and saw it. Tall as the trees, skin stretched tight over a bony frame, as if starved for centuries. Its face, an ashen skull with hollow eyes and jagged teeth, dripped with something dark and fresh. Antlers curled like twisted roots from its head, and the stench, like rot left in the sun. It didn't move. Neither did Jesse. Then it whispered his name. Back at the cabin, Jesse bolted the door and fumbled for Tom's rifle. But Tom wasn't inside. There was blood, though. A trail, red against the snow, leading back into the woods. He should have run, called for help, anything. Instead, he followed. The forest swallowed him whole. He found Tom, or what was left, torn open, organs steaming in the cold, and above him, the Wendigo feasted, long limbs bent like a spider, its tongue lapping greedily. Then it looked at Jesse, and in Tom's voice it said, "I'm still hungry." Jesse fired, but it vanished into the trees, faster than it should have been, laughing. He ran for hours, maybe days. The cold gnawed through his clothes, his skin, his sanity. He doesn't remember collapsing. They found him a week later, frostbitten and raving in a ranger's station miles from the cabin. Now Jesse sits in a padded room, rocking, whispering one word over and over. Wendigo. Wendigo. And some nights, when the moon is right and the wind howls through the trees, he swears he still hears Tom's voice, calling from the woods. The quiet ones. They warned me not to build out here. That stretch of woods don't belong to people, old Merrill at the feed store said. Something else calls it home. I laughed it off. Superstition, ghost stories, perfect for tourists, not for a retired carpenter looking for peace. I bought 5 acres of thick pine forest anyway. I built my cabin by hand. No cell service, no neighbors, just wind through the trees and the scent of sap. The first few weeks were bliss. Then I started hearing things. At first, it was just twigs snapping. Heavy footsteps where there shouldn't be any. I blamed deer, maybe elk. But elk don't knock. That's what it sounded like, a knock. 3 slow raps on the wall just after midnight. Always on the far side of the cabin. Always where the woods are the darkest. I'd grab my flashlight, I'd storm outside, but I'd find nothing. Until one night, I did. Just beyond the tree line stood a shape. Not a bear, not a man. 8 feet tall, covered in matted hair. Its shoulders hunched like it had carried the forest on its back for centuries. It didn't move, didn't growl. It just watched. I shouted. It turned and vanished into the trees, silent as a fog. The next morning, I found claw marks on my door. No scratches. Marks. Deep. Deliberate. Like writing. I patched them up, pretended it didn't shake me, set up trail cams, placed motion lights. The cams never caught a thing. But every morning, something had moved. Rocks stacked in strange patterns. A deer's head left facing my porch. My firewood gone. I tried leaving. Car wouldn't start. Battery drained flat. Then the spare battery too. Something didn't want me to leave. Nights got worse. The knocking came from all sides now. Sometimes on the roof. I'd hear it breathing, slow and wet, just outside the walls. Once, it whispered my name. Not like it learned it, like it remembered it. Then, one morning, I woke to find the forest quiet. Too quiet. Even the wind had stopped. I opened the door and saw the footprints, dozens of them, leading to the cabin. And one more thing, a note nailed to a tree across from me, handwritten, shaky script. You've been seen. Now you're one of the quiet ones. I don't know what that means, but I haven't heard birds since. I don't dream anymore, and sometimes when I look in the mirror, something stares back with eyes that aren't mine. If you ever find this cabin, don't knock. I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to the special friends of the channel for your overwhelming generosity. If you would like to support the channel, the link is below in the description. Also, please send me your stories and poems to duchessofdarkness27@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram at duchess.ofdarkness and Twitter at duchessofdarkn2. I want to thank all my listeners for your kindness, your encouragement, and your support. It means the world to me. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.